Hello and welcome to Kettering Farms. We're back with another episode of Flint Hills by JS Mapping, and we are in the middle of summer here, and we're finally washing some of our trucks up here. They've been dirty for a long time, especially with all the hauling down the dirt road we've been doing to sell off all those soybeans last episode. And so we're just washing everything up, making sure it's all repaired and ready to go. We're going to be kind of putting everything away today, and I think getting some equipment set up for harvest here eventually. We've got a little ways to go before then, but we've got a few things that we probably need to get ready for. And I thought today would be a good episode to kind of take a step back and clean everything up. And I think what I'd like to do is get a more permanent solution set up for our pig feed. We've been kind of working on hauling that in, but we've got to figure out how to store some of the crops. I'd like to get back to making our own pig feed, but in a more bulk manner here. And so I need to figure out how we can store the materials that we need for making pig feed somewhere and get a little bit bigger of a mixer. So we're going to be doing that here in just a little bit. It looks like this truck definitely needs some diesel and a little bit of repair. We're going to actually run this one over to the garage and see about patching up this truck and trailer. So we're just going to run this guy right over here and see if I can pull into our garage here where the workshop is. I haven't ever checked. I wonder if the workshop trigger extends outside of the shed at all, or if you have to actually be inside of the shed for the workshop to work. Either way, we'll get the garage door opened here, and it looks like I do need to be inside. So we'll just pull this guy right in here. We got plenty of space. And we're not making any configuration changes, so it shouldn't disconnect us or do anything too terribly weird. We've got both of these fixed up. It was not too terribly expensive at all there. And I think what I'm going to do is swing back around out onto the road and pull him in alongside the other semi here. Give us a nice place to park. Close these tarps up here. I parked the other guy just a little crooked. We're going to actually park, I think, right under the auger here. Something about like this. So what I'm thinking about is, in order to start making our own pig feed again, we've got this area over here behind the shed, this grassy area that we kind of just hacked out of field 16. Or actually it was field 21 at the time, I think. But I think we're going to put some kind of a professional feed mixing station in here so that we can make feed for the pigs. And we might actually also add some additional bins. I think maybe some of these, I've got these Meridian hopper bins, or I might have another bin, but something standalone that we can put the corn and soybeans and stuff that we want to use for feed separate from our main storage. Because there's no way to get normal corn back out of these bins. And once it's turned into dry corn, I'm not able to use it for the feed without doing some extra work to some stuff that I just don't want to have to deal with. So it's going to be a little easier for us to just store some of our corn separate from the bin system for use with feed. So we're going to go ahead and see what we've got to set that up. All right, so we have done a little bit of shopping around, and I have found a fairly interesting modular feeding mod that I want to try out. It's based on the same principle as kind of these, where the material is going to be piped into the building, but we don't have a great place to put it. So I'm kind of looking around here trying to figure out where I'd want to put it. Ideally, I'd like to just get rid of this part of the feed and put it right here on the corner. Typically you would put your feed kind of on the ends of the hog enclosure here. I don't want to block the airflow with the curtains down, but yeah, I think we're going to put it right alongside here. I think there's enough room in here, and so we found this on the in-game Giants mod hub, actually. And so there's this lizard feeding system module, and you can pick which types of feed you want to have piped into this, and it'll mix and distribute the feed on kind of an automatic basis. So we're going to give this a shot and see if this is actually going to work for us. And so it's got this little pipe that you can kind of see there that you've got to stick into the building. And I'm hoping this is going to work. I don't want the tanks to be inside the roof there, so I'm kind of trying to make sure I get it just far enough away from the building, but close enough that I'm actually inside the building. Like that. And then as you can see, if I rotate the camera around here, we've got... Whoa, we're going really fast. We've got one tank here for some material, and then there's these other modules that you can put on. And so by default, that's the module for feeding with corn, and then you have one for grain, protein, and earth fruits. Since we've scripted out the root crop requirements, we only need these other two modules. So I'm going to go ahead and grab module 1. And you can see here that it's got this little tiny bit that sticks out in front here. And my understanding is in order to get these to work, I just need to get this lined up perfectly as a square with the other part of the module here. And then we're going to do the same thing for module 2 here. And so I'm just going to rotate that around, and we're going to go ahead and get this lined up nice and neat. And then I believe this is going to work with just these 3 modules attached, or 2 modules attached to the main. And if I walk over, I believe here, I can push R to open the panel, and I can see that I have my corn bunker, and then I can set what times I would like to feed my pigs on a regular basis, and how many liters of feed I'm going to try and feed them at that point in time. And so if I were to turn this on and advance this to, say, 8 a.m. and say that I want to feed 100% of my corn mixture, let's see, quantity I believe is what I care about. So I would say maybe I want to feed them 4,000 liters every morning. And then we're going to go see how we're doing. And then it's going to track statistics for how much was consumed previously. I don't know what the difference between total consumption and bunker consumption is, but we're going to play around with this. So I'm going to set corn at 4,000 to start with, because if I bring up our animal menu, it looks like, actually it looks like 3,000 would probably be enough, because I think it only uses about half a day now that we're down to 90 pigs. As we have more pigs, this would obviously go up. So maybe we're just going to turn this down a little bit and feed them once a day here. And then if I come to the next panel here, this is for grain. The grain is going to be wheat, barley, oats, that kind of stuff. And so similarly, we're going to start at the minimum and just feed them 2,000. And I'm going to do the same thing and feed them at 8. And then similarly here for protein foods, this is going to be like soybeans. In our case, maybe canola. I can't remember what's in that category. But we're going to do the same thing and feed them at 8 with 2,000 liters. And so I'm hoping this is going to work out for us. We've got about an hour before 8 o'clock. And so what I need to do is get a little bit of each of these crops put in there just to test this out. Now, we have made the mistake that we sold off literally everything that we had in our own bins. And so we are going to need to get some new materials here. And I'm just now realizing that we put this kind of close to this other item. So, and this is where we are going to fill this. And so I think I'm actually going to move this back a little bit real quick. All right, so I've slid this back a little ways. I didn't want to get it too close to the slurry here, just in case we ever do need that third module. But this is going to give us a little bit more room, I think, to pull something in here and get some feed into this feed mixer. And so we're going to go grab a semi here real quick and move this tender out of the way. And actually, we'll probably use that to go pick up some of the materials that we need just to get this pig feed started, because I'm really curious to kind of see how well this is going to work. So we might actually give that a shot, because I think technically the seed tender is going to be capable of hauling anything we need, although I do have a bunch of seed in here, so maybe this is not the most convenient of trailers, so we might try something else here real quick. But either way, let me get this stuff out of the way, and we'll figure out how to get some materials up here to the farm. All right, so we are headed back up to the farm with a full semi of corn here, and we picked up a hopper of wheat and a hopper of soybeans in the other semi. So that should be enough to get us started on pig feed here for a while. I actually don't know how much grain we're going to be able to store in these things. And to the person who asked if I had crop destruction on, that's what happens when you don't pay attention and you drive over the edge of your cornfield. So yes, we definitely have crop destruction turned on this map. So I've got the other semi parked here with the soybeans and the wheat, because I wanted to kind of try and do this on camera. I'm realizing, though, I'm not sure how I'm going to get the double hopper kind of in front of this dump zone. We're gonna try and back in there here and see how that goes. I've got tip side to the back right now. And so we're going to see if I can just kind of finagle my way in front of this hopper zone without running into anything, hopefully, and get a dump trigger here. It's not looking terribly hopeful, though. Let me see. Yeah, that's a pretty small trigger there. And I think the dump on my box might be just taller than that. So we have options, and so we're going to get rid of the annoying boxes there, and we're going to do the next best thing, which is use one of our little augers to do this. So we've got actually, that little Batco drive over might work really well for this scenario, but we've already got this Brant over here, and so I think this is the one we're going to start with and see if we can get this to work. And then if this doesn't work, we'll try one of the other augers that we have installed. But I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to get this thing to work. I think this is how I emptied these semis before with the other feed mixers, so in theory, it should work, and this one has the added benefit of being one that you can actually drive, which is good because it means I can, you know, kind of finagle this one under the semi without too many difficulties. And I think what we're going to do is we need to get turned around here, and if I'm not mistaken, that dump trigger, there was a dump trigger in the top of this box, actually. So if I can just put this right over the top of the box, it should work out pretty well. Something like this is my guess. We're going to go ahead and pipe out. We're going to turn this guy on. And we need to just put this semi-trailer right over that hopper, I think, and we should be good to go. I'm going to switch the dump to the front, though, because we're kind of coming in here right now. And I don't want to drive on the hopper, but I do need to get the trailer underneath it. So I got to kind of figure out how we're going to put this hopper right back over like so. And then let me just hop back in this auger here. I think I may have turned the auger off by accident. All right, so we couldn't get the other auger working, so we're going to try this Batco drive over I know it's a little awkward to see it just kind of sitting here dumping into the front of this tank, but I thought that we should at least check and make sure this is all going to work. We might figure out a more logical way to set this up at some point in the future, but for now, I'm just trying to figure out how to get this thing to work and make sure this is going to be something that we can use moving forward. I'm going to set us to the front dump. And if I pull over here, I do get the unload point. So we're going to go ahead and start unloading the backhoe. And the backhoe is unloading into that trigger. And it's going right into this first silo, which is where I would expect it to go. So this is actually working as intended, which is pretty sweet. And then we can dump the second hopper in here as well. I want to say these tanks are supposed to hold 100,000 liters, which is more than our semi-trailer holds here. And so that's going to be pretty easy for us. In fact, yep, so we just put 40,000 liters in there, and we're going to be able to just pull right through. So I really like this setup. Again, with that auger like that, it's not the most realistic, but it does work. And so we're going to think this through. Think about the best way to do this moving forward, but this is gonna work. So let's go ahead and get our soybeans and wheat put into here, and then we're gonna see how this thing works here when the pigs need food next. We're just gonna pull right through here like we did with the corn. Should go nice and easy. Whoops, we overshot just a smidge. And we can see that grain going into the second hopper there. The wheat is going into the second silo, and then in the back silo should be the soybeans here for our protein. So if we switch to the back hopper here and pull this up, I'm really hoping this is just going to work, and there it is. We're going to be super happy with this, I think. And the nice part is that we can fill this up and it'll keep our cows going for us without too much maintenance moving forward. Having to feed them every single day was a little bit much. Being able to just dump the feed that we need into the silos and have the silo system take care of automatically feeding on a schedule is going to be really cool. So if we bring up the menu here, we don't actually need to feed them right now. It looks like they are full on feed. And so I had set it up to feed them at 8 in the morning. I think we're going to give them the water that they need here real quick. And I think at this point, there's not a lot left to do right now. We're going to fast forward time. And we'll see what happens at 8 o'clock here. But I don't expect a whole lot to happen. Because we don't actually need to feed them right now. And then we'll probably skip ahead to the next day here and see what happens when they do need food. So here I've got a warning from the feeding system that the capacity was too large. And I think that means that there's no room in the food for them to actually eat. And so I don't know that that's really a problem per se, but I don't know what to do about this warning that's popped up. Maybe it'll just go away at the next hour mark. Yep, so it went away after it was up for an hour, and I guess that's okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward time now and get to the next day, and we'll see what happens when the pigs actually need food. So we're coming into the second day here, and I'm looking at the animal menu, and I'm noticing that while our feed has gone down, we're still at 100%. And I think what's happened here is that we had a whole bunch of extra feed in the animal enclosure itself before we sold all the hogs, and so they're eating all of that excess food. So there's no capacity again today, which isn't a problem. It's just kind of weird how the capacity changes dynamically based on how many animals are in the structure with FS19. And so we're going to get that same error, I suspect, here as we pass 8 o'clock that says that there's, really no room to put food into the hog enclosure right now. So that's okay. we're going to go ahead and just continue forward into the next day as we move through seasons here. All right, so we have continued to move time forward for many, many days here. We are into late autumn. And as you can see, a couple of things have happened. We've more than doubled the amount of hogs that we have because they keep giving birth. So we actually have quite a few here that are about ready to be sold. They're all at this 280 mark. We've got a few of these male hogs. I don't know why some go male and female. It's interesting how, I mean, I know why that works. I don't know what the seasons mechanic is there that determines that, but we've definitely got some that are ready to be sold. We've got a lot of little pigs coming in here, and we finally got to a point where we need feed, but it's a lot less than I was expecting. And again, this is, we were coming down from 500 full-sized pigs to we've got mostly smaller ones in here now, so they don't eat as much food when they're young, which is kind of a cool feature within seasons. And so we're coming into the 8 o'clock hour here, and actually this worked the previous day and I just didn't catch it. And so if we fast forward just a couple minutes here and go into 8 o'clock, we're going to see that our pigs are going to get fed here. All right, so we've advanced to the 10 a.m., which I had adjusted everything up to 10 at one point, and you can see that the amounts just drained out of these silos. We do still get the warning that we're trying to pull more than there was capacity for, but what it is going to do is go ahead and fill that up by the amount that was there. Now, it takes a while for this to update, so you can see that this hasn't updated yet, but it pulled all of the grain types into this, and you can kind of hear that it's mixing. And so it's going to mix that up, and then it's going to start pumping it into the feed here over the 10 o'clock hour. I think it takes a couple of minutes for that to actually go, but it is going to feed or fill up those pig food bars here in a moment. In fact, I just saw the feed go out the back there, and you can see that this is starting to fill up the food for the pigs, and it's mixing again here. And so it's going to do it kind of in batches and then push a little bit out, push a little bit out. And so it works pretty cool. It's pretty realistic. It does go a little slow. And so, as we got more and more hogs, we could set this thing up to run multiple times throughout the day. That's the cool thing with the way that the times work here is that you've got 4 different times you could set this up to run throughout the day. So with that, we've done a lot of goofing around here with this and advancing time to the point where we could actually make sure it's working. I'm super excited to see that it's working. And the next step is going to be getting into harvest here. So we are into autumn. And if we take a quick look at the map here, you can see that our cornfields are now ready to harvest at least. And our bean fields are lagging behind because we took a while to get out in the field and be able to plant them. And so we do have quite a few spots here that didn't seem to germinate or grow properly. So we got a lot of splotches in these fields, which is interesting. That might be a result of how and when we planted. But either way, I'm expecting we're going to have a pretty good yield. We will be getting into harvesting next episode. If we just take a quick look at these fields, we've got corn. It's fully grown. It's at 23% moisture, so we need the moisture to come down just a little bit in order to be able to harvest that field. If we pull up the season's weather here, today's kind of cloudy, a little bit of wind and not a lot of drying potential, but we are going to get some sun tomorrow. So I think in a worst case scenario, we will be able to get out in the fields tomorrow once the sun comes out. But it's only 10 a.m. And so I think that as the day goes on here, we will be able to start getting out into the cornfield. And so that's going to be what we start on next episode. I'm super happy to have gotten this awesome pig feed mixing station set up here today. And I think we're actually going to have to plant some wheat in one of these fields next year so that we can feed our pigs with everything that we've got on the farm. I would love to be able to just put soybeans, corn, and pig food in here, or pig food and wheat to make the pig food. I think this is going to work out really well. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit different, just kind of featuring this one mod, but it was really cool. And again, this was on the in-game mod hub, so head on over there and check it out. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. That's all for today. Kedrick, out.